Good evening. We want to continue, and today, what we want to start by tackling, we want to start by looking at the role of ship chandlers. So, we want to see what role uh, do these people play, and who are they in the first place. So, when you talk about ship chandlers, uh, we mean companies that take care of all the supplies required by a ship offshore. So when a ship is in offshore, that is uh, the time the ship has docked at the port, there are those things which it requires. Things like the fresh water, things like the supplies of the stores and all that. Now, these people, known as the ship chandlers, um, they're the one who are concerned with this. So the supplies of the ship chandlers include a wide spectrum of products and services, including all kinds of the ship spare parts, safety equipment, logistics and distribution of support, technical services, and many more. And the world most known chandler companies maintain their presence in all major shipping regions across the globe, ensuring that the ships and vessels meet their demand without delays and hassles. So, with their presence on public ports, terminals and anchorages in major shipping regions maintain the supplies of all the items that are required on a ship. So these items like the foodstuffs, fresh water, medical supplies, marine chemicals, ship's parts and accessories, clothings, books, and many more. They are normally termed as essential um, life or support life on sea. So these people you need, you know that the moment the ship is on voyage, we don't have uh, shopping centers whereby they can go and do shopping in the high seas. So the ship must be well stocked with all the requirements that it needs before it embarks on a voyage. And the companies um, which are mandated with these, they are known as the ship chandlers. So they make safe arrangements for loading and offloading of ships offshore. And logistical and distribution support is also one of the major reasons why these offshore vessels avail the service of chandlers. So the cargo that needs to be sent to warehouses at a particular terminal or port is easily delivered with the distribution channel of ship chandling companies. And the whole process becomes very fast and more efficient and economical. So, uh, as we know that ships are big machines um, that require maintenance and repair. And though we have engineers and mechanics who are available on deck, but in case there is need for some supplies of or services not available on site, chandlers can be contacted for the same. So they provide this technical assistance. So most ships they normally have got the engineers who are on board, the technical departments. They are always there on board, headed by marine superintendent. They are always on board the ship. But sometimes, yes, they are on board, but they can lack some other equipments or uh, gadgets which are required for the same purpose. So, in order to fulfill this, the chandlers can be contacted that, oh, we need this particular supply, so make it available. So, offshore accidents may really leave a ship stranded. And there may be chances that even the communication setup gets damaged. In such events, when a ship is tied up with chandlers, it can get assistance sooner um, or later. So the personnel in chandling companies are trained to tackle such situations and carry out rescue operations if anything serious happens. Uh, Ship chandlers, they does play a very crucial role in ensuring that the ships offshore are fed with all the supplies they require, and eventually they help in maintaining the global supply chain of ships, or which the ships are an inseparable part. So those things which the ship essentially need um, for it to be in a complete voyage, they are supplied by these third-party um, uh, logistics providers known as the ship chandlers. So they are those registered company, well known for good service delivery. So wherever you need any service concerning the spare parts, concerning fresh water, concerning foodstuffs, you contact them and they will avail them to you in the right time. Now, we have what is known as stevedoring. Now, stevedoring are done by people known as stevedores. And what does it mean, stevedoring? Um, Stevedoring, normally, this involves, like here we try to explain that it technically means from the first point in the ship's or ship's hold to the first point on the quay, or vice versa. That loading and the offloading aspects, the people who take part in this, they're normally known as the ship doors, or the stevedores. We know that's the stevedores. So it is therefore the process of loading or discharging or offloading a ship or a cargo from a ship. So that process of uh, loading cargoes and offloading cargoes from the ship is what is termed as the stevedoring, and the people who are mandated with this particular act are called as the stevedores. So stevedores refers to the act of offloading or loading cargoes to and from a ship, and a person or a company engaged in that such activity is called a stevedore. So stevedoring charges, therefore, are those charges incurred for the discharging or unloading of goods from a ship hold to the quay, berth, the wharf, pier, or loading of goods to a ship's hold from a quay, berth, wharf, pier, including shifting of cargo on board a ship without landing on a quay, the restores, the landing of the shifted cargoes on the quay, or and reshipping it back to the ship. So that is uh, a brief explanation of what uh, the stevedoring means. Now, what role do they do in shipping? Stevedores they are planners of extensive dock labor, so they're involved in planning uh, activities. They're also involved in working on ships, in the wharves, in unloading and loading of cargo. They control cranes and the derricks on ships, including the huge containers on shores or ship. They safeguard containers from one ship to another. But if it is container ships, stevedores carry containers from a particular storage area to the crane and vice versa. They are often they often do much more handling the cargo, that is by adding the value to their premises. There is, for example, a car terminal will often prepare a newly delivered car for the ultimate sales by the dealers, while a paper or a wood terminals prepares a store cargo for the consignee. So what they do is that they do much more than just handling of the cargo, but they try to add value to that particular cargo. That is by, like, they can also be involved in the proper packaging of that cargo. Okay. They were also once organizers of large-scale dock labor. And today's stevedoring companies and their skilled personnel operate a selection of expensive, sophisticated cargo handling equipment in ports and terminals around the globe. So their skills are called upon to pick up the slack, and if the ship is slowed to save fuel or by bad weather, getting the delivery of the cargo back on schedule again, appropriate steps being taken by the master of the ship. So that is the roles performed by the stevedores. So these are some of their roles as highlighted there. Now, straight away, you want to go to the what called the port health authorities. Um, the port health. These people are the ones who are mandated to inspect the arriving ships and ensure that the crew on board, none of them has gone communicable diseases or is infected with a disease that can be easily uh, be transferred to another party, or like in this era we know there were this disease which has shaken the entire world, that is the COVID-19. So it is the role of the port health authorities to inspect all the ships which are arriving, um, that they have adhered to the health protocols which are required, the international health and even the state health protocol, before they are allowed to start the discharge operations. They also check the waste management uh, operations, like maybe whatever the waste which are being used in the ship, how have they been disposed, waste management disposal. They check on that. Oil spillage and all those kind of things. So they check on that. So port health authorities control on UK food and feed import. They check and inspect high risk food at the UK borders. Fees and documentation for importers. Um, uh, Fees and uh, as I said, they check on the inspections of high risk food at the UK borders, fees and documentations, the fees and the documentations, and also so the roles and responsibilities of the port health authorities. Um, they check on food at the point of import are in place throughout the Europe, or in our case here, if you live out the Europe, any other country in the world, be it in Africa, be it in Asia, be it in in US and all that. So they check on the food at the point of import, that they are in place. Also, they control the risk to human and animal health. And many ports around the United Kingdom have specialist facilities that deal with the high risk food imports, such as the food of animals origin, meat and fish products, as well as the high risk foods such as peanuts. And local authorities, including the port health authorities, enforce control on UK food imports. The same even in here in Kenya. These people, they ensure that there's those high risk food imports, uh, such as the food of animals origin, um, like fur, meat, and fish products, as well as high risk food products such as those of peanuts, are well inspected and they are up to date. There are cases here in Africa. There are several cases where people are complaining that we are eating some substandard food, which do not meet the criteria of human health. So there are people who can be blamed on this. One, we have got the bodies that deals with the standardization of import. Like in Kenya, we have the KEBS. Um, but before they reach the KEBS point, there is people who needs to overall just looked at that. Does these things meet the criteria? So they'll check on various documents that pertains that particular import, just to justify that they have met the requirement. So the functions of port health authorities um, include ensuring that only products that are safe to eat enter the food chain, and also safeguard animals and public health, checks compliance with the EU rules and international trading standards. They are also responsible for monitoring all food imports, but they will not physically check all the food imports. So it is your responsibility to ensure that your product are safe to eat. But again, you see, we cannot leave it at your point, like in our case here. Since these people may not check all the food product, that is why there is an inspection body. Like here we have what KEBS to do that for us, because to us, just a local man, you may not know this is the best food for my consumption, but they have the standard which should be met by each category of import. So although details import checks may be carried out on any food product from non-EU, that is the third countries, uh, that is African countries inclusive, the actual checks carried out are determined on a risk basis. So for products that have been declared as high risk at the EU or at the UK level, special health controls are in place, and checks must be carried out at import stage. So port health authorities must be notified in advance of the arrival of your goods. So products that are subject to special checks, um, as we say, they are those ones of the animal's origin, um, and they are referred to the veterinary checks and carried out to protect both public and animal health. So they are abbreviated as the products of animal origin, that is the POAO, include we have meat, dairy product, fish, honey, gelatile, hay, and straw. So there are a number of products which have been found to present a particular risk to public health. So checks are carried out on food, not animal origin, and these include, but not limited to, the peanut spices, palm oil, figs, uh, turquoise, and other nuts. Uh, there are also control on imports of plants and plant produce, which include certain fruits, potatoes, vegetables, and also the bulb. So the Plant Health and Seed Inspectorate is responsible for implementing controls. They require all importers of control health plant goods to register and provide advance notice of it of at least 4 working hours if brought in by air, and all other cases, including the ship, at least 3 working days. And if not, if you do not pre-notify your consignment, it will not be customs cleared. So those are the conditions that if it is airlifted, then give um, a notification or at least 4 working hours. But if it is by other surface means, surface transport means, or like those ones brought by water, land, and all that, you need to give a pre-notifications of around 3 weeks, 3 working days. I mean, now roles of the customs, these are varied. Customs are all over the globe. They have got various roles which they play, and they are they include controls on the duties to be paid, and that the correct descriptions of the goods, their origin and the value, they check on that. Security and safety measures, that is, they ensure that there is no cargo that is smuggled in the country, like the cigars, the drugs, the weapons, the counterfeited products, etc. Also, they ensure compliance with environmental legislations, that all the imports which are being brought in the country, they adhere to the environmental legislations, compliance with the common agriculture policies, rules, and also health requirements, veterinary, phytosanitary, and quality regulations. Now, in addition, customs are also often supporting the work of other services such as the police and immigration services, so they work together. Now, operations in a fast-moving environment, that customs control must be quick and effective and based on the modern risk management technique in order not to disrupt trade flows in a fast-moving economy. So effective controls, like avoiding unnecessary delays or the cost for economic operators, are achieved through a close cooperation with the business, particularly when it comes to the exchange of information, the use of modern IT techniques and tools, a highly specialized examination equipment, and also efficient risk management methods. Now, besides that, I also want us to see the PSC, which is an inspection regime for countries to inspect foreign registered ships, imports, and other than those of the flag state, and take action against ships that are not in compliance. So the PSC is an inspection body for countries to inspect a foreign registered ship in a port other than those of flag state. When we talk about the flag state, those are the ships which are registered in your country. Like, for example, if you're talking about Kenya, if we have a ship which is registered in Kenya, then the PSC will not inspect it. But if it is registered in any other country, be it Tanzania, be it Liberia, be it Panama, or any other country around the world, if they come at the Mombasa port, that the PSC must do that inspection. So that such inspectors are called the PSC officers and are required to investigate compliance with the requirement of international conventions such as the SOLAS. SOLAS, we know that is a abbreviation for safety of life at sea. The MAPOL, that is the marine pollution. The STCW and the MLC, that is maritime law conventions. So these international conventions are very important, and any ship that do not comply with them, then the PSC has got the right to either detain that particular ship or deny it access to its berths. So inspection can be involved checking the vessel is manned and operated in compliance with the applicable international legislations, and also verifying the competency of the shipmaster and officers and ship conditions and equipment. So they look at that. The person who is behind the gears, how competent is he? Okay. The officers who are involved in the board, how competent are they? Because there's no risk which should be taken. So they don't want to assume any particular risk, because if there is lack of competency among these people, then the SOLAS may not be realized. The safety of life at sea, we may realize losses in the high seas, and that is a challenge. Then we have inspection and enforcement. The PSC makes inspection of ships in port taken by uh, the PSCO, that is the Port State Control Officer. Annual report of the Paris MOU reported that a total of 74,713 deficiencies were recorded during Port State Control inspection in 2007. This is a lot. So which deficiencies resulted in 1,250 detentions that year. So detentions of the ships is the last course of action that the Port State Control officers can undertake. So yes, deficiencies can be found, and see the number of deficiencies you have found: 74,713. That is back in 2007. But out of these ones, out of 74,000, they managed to detain 1,250 ships. Because this is the last aspect which can be done for a ship. Yes, you can find a source got a mistake, but you can be given opportunity, go, but correct it before you reach the next port. So the course of actions of the Port State Control officers may impose a ship with deficiencies in order to ascending gravity R. Deficiencies can be rectified within 14 days for minor infractions. So if it is just a minor deficiency, you can be given 14 days to rectify it. Under specific conditions, deficiencies can be rectified when the ship arrives at the next port. So you are given authority. Yes, you can either do this within 14 days. You can do that within the 14 days. If it is just a minor infractions, and under some conditions, the deficiencies can be rectified when the ships arrives at the next port. You're also allowed to do that. And deficiencies must be rectified before the ship can depart that particular port. So prior to it departing that particular port, you can correct it if it is just a minor one. Then this detention of ship occurs. So if all these ones are not followed, or they are not adhered to, then the next thing there will be that detention of that particular ship will occur. So see, what will lead to the detention is when you fail to honor these other conditions. That is when your ship can be detained. Okay. So then we have another interesting body here. That is the VMC, the vessel management companies. Ship management, the ship management, as the name implies, simply deals with the process of manning a ship, and it is done by independent companies. I said that the ship management is done by independent companies which use the ships of some other companies or independent owners. So they normally, basically, these companies, they don't own ships, but they're just specialists who undertake the management on behalf of the owners. So they manage ships for the owner and pays him for the yearly amount, which is settled between the owner and the ship management company. So moreover, the owner of the ship signs a contract and leases the ship to the ship management company for a defined duration of time. And the ship owner may continue with the same management company, or can approach another company if he or she is not satisfied with the performance of that particular ship management company. So it is not it is to note that the owner can lease that ship completely, or he can render some of the services provided by the ship management company. So when a ship is purchased for importing and exporting goods, a ship management team is required to maintain and operate that vessel. So the function of the management team is to provide the owner with support throughout the occupancy or a charter of the vessel, and the vessel can range in size and the function. And most of these companies provide the owner or the operator with a crew on board, and when the ship comes out of the shipyard where the ship is built, then the management company takes it over, providing the technical support the owner. So most management companies also offer other services like inspection prior to the purchase, supervisions during building, crew management and the supplies of the ship's lay-up solutions. A ship lay-up, this is when maybe the ship is withdrawn from the active operation, so it is being taken maybe either for scrapping or for any other thing. So major locations where third-party ship management activities are carried out, mostly we have got the Limassol, that is found in Cyprus. We have those Singapore, Hong Kong, and in Malta. So up to there, I think we end the class there, and I believe that you have grabbed something more so on where we started, and that is from the point of the ship, the roles of the ship chandlers, the stevedores and their roles, the port health and their roles, and also the roles of the customs authorities, the PSC and what they perform, the VMC companies. Until next time, have a good night. Bye.